Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, gentlemen of the press. I want to start by thanking you for always coming to amplify our voices because we know we cannot do it alone. It takes a very joint effort to be able to achieve a good and an impact, a great impact. So we want to really appreciate the media for your support. This time around, this is a gubernatorial state assembly election radar briefing and unveiling of first Nigeria vote beat survey by Speak Out Africa Initiative, a non-governmental organization that works around election to deepen our democracy and entrench good governance to the people. We are looking at post-presidential National Assembly election assessments. We're also looking at situational radar report on 28 states gubernatorial and state assembly elections that is going to take place. In this briefing, we are calling on the judiciary to air the current presidential and National Assembly Appeal Court Tribunal hearing, to air it live for Nigerians to participate, to watch it. And also, lastly, in this briefing, we are going to unveil the first Nigeria vote beat survey that officially by this organization. So once again, you are welcome to this auspicious day, another day of our democracy. In line with our commitment to ensuring the credibility and sanctity of the 2022 general election, the Speak Out Africa Initiative has launched a survey after the controversial presidential and National Assembly election and the intricacies that follows it, including the ongoing judicial case at the Appeal Court Tribunal, where candidate application and counter application are taking place, as well as INEC varying requests order. This survey is to gauge the vote beat of Nigerians with regards to their voting behavior and likely participation for the gubernatorial and state assembly elections. This is expedient because the way and manner an election is conducted, that is the adherence to its process, and the event which follows after, that is its management by the electoral umpire, has huge direct impact on voter participation. Thus, we are committed as an organization to safeguarding the participation of voters in an election. To us, whatever that we create voter apathy is an enemy to democracy and should be confronted headlong. Today, the presidential National Assembly election conducted on February 25 by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is widely adjudged as most controversial by available reports, both from local CSO and international observers, as well as majority of citizen voters. Unfortunately, this was supposed to be the freest, fairest, most credible and acceptable election in the history of our dear country, Nigeria, considering the huge investment made by federal government and stakeholders, especially the civil society community, who had labored day and night against all resistance to ensure the passage of the 2022 Electoral Act. In addition, INEC assurances and integrity promises such as technology innovations like Bimodal Voter Accreditation System BVAS, which was to perform two key functions, which are voter accreditation and electronic transmission of result upload direct to INEC IREF portal, real time, deploying of well-trained INEC staff to man the BVAS machines, secure and dependable logistic plans on election day, as well as other credible election enablers. Sadly, irregularities, logistic lapses, inadequate trained ad hoc staff, as well as perceived breach of trust on the part of the electoral umpire INEC is at the center of discussion today. Obviously, the overall effects of the development is likely to have serious impact on the voter participation, both in the forthcoming State Assembly and other future elections. A task the civil society have labored so much to make the Nigerian voter put confidence on INEC. This must not be eroded, hence why we launched the Nigeria Vote B survey to gauge, identify, diagnose, and address the possible electoral deficits that may emanate. For emphasis, the two key parameters and drivers for this survey will be process and participation only, and will never have anything to do with the election outcome. That is for the political parties to pursue. This is because for any contest, we believe, in an election, a winner must emerge. But the process by which the outcome is determined is more key to the survival of any democracy. Incidentally, process and participation are interwoven and form the basis for election democracy. In this vein, we have launched a survey for citizens to appraise INEC conduct, adherence to its own guidelines and electoral acts, perceived trusts, pre-presidential National Assembly election, and now, after result declaration. The survey is taking into cognizance the February 25 election, presidential National Assembly election, the assessments, the trust, Nigeria's feelings, Nigeria's vote beat as at then, and now that the election has been conducted, what is it reading now? That will help us to extrapolate the likely projection of what we should expect in the gubernatorial and state assembly election. We are doing this because we know that Nigeria has been greeted with so much mixed feelings, and so we want to extrapolate to conduct this survey to be able to actually, collate, and the essence of it all is to address this issue squarely, so that we will be able to avoid voter apathy, not just in the coming election, but in future elections. This will inform our survey. Just yesterday, the Appeal Court Tribunal ruling on the INEC varying request to reconfigure the BVAS in preparation for gubernatorial and state assembly election has made them to reschedule the originally slated 11th March gubernatorial state assembly election to now March 18, an extension by 1 week. Surprisingly, most citizens welcomed the judgment in good faith and had no issues with the postponement, as it is viewed to be in favor of democracy, for giving aggrieved presidential candidates fair ground to assess election evidence from INEC as they requested. We must not fail to commend INEC for later withdrawing the varying request. This is a good decision, as it earlier stand to have made that request seemingly cast aspersion on his image as trying to hide something which may not be true. What we are saying is that we applaud INEC, though the decision came very late, to have requested that the earlier request to vary the order for the presidential candidate to inspect and conduct their own assessment on the BVAS and every other data that was used, machine that were used for election, was later withdrew by INEC. And that is commendable, because that move has greeted by a lot of Nigerians with a lot of views, a lot of school of thought, as if INEC was actually trying to hide something. And we know that the very much legacy of INEC has to rest with its public image. INEC should be commended for retracing its steps. In all of this, INEC is not to be blamed for the postponement. Neither is the judiciary for its judgments. On judiciary, we call on the judiciary to air the current Presidential National Assembly Appeal Court Tribunal hearing live for Nigerians to feel a sense of participation. This will enhance and strengthen the trust and integrity of the trust that the Nigerian people has, that they repose on the judiciary, and it will enhance the integrity of the courts, of the judiciary. So we are making a plea and calling on the judiciary to do that. On INEC, we therefore call on INEC as the electoral umpire to rebuild its integrity and trust, close all the lapses identified in the last Presidential National Assembly election, especially in areas like logistics, BVAS functionality, result upload from polling unit direct to IRF portal for transparency and participation of citizens, voter education on polling unit transfer, as well as being seen as truly independent, transparent, and on the side of the Nigerian people. We task INEC to do everything possible to eschew mistrust in the commission, especially as the presidential candidates approach them for certified true copies. With claim, sorry, let me repeat that again for emphasis, mistrust in the commission, especially as the presidential candidates approach them for certified true copies of election results and material document. This is with a recourse to the Osun gubernatorial scenario, where two political parties presented to the court two different certified true copies with claim to have emanated from the same INEC commission. Though INEC had also on their response explained that this discrepancy in the certified true copy in Osun is as a result of lack of synchronization between the BVAS, which is the primary data source, and that of the back-end server. So we are calling that INEC must move away from anything that will erode their integrity by ensuring that as candidates approaches them for certified true copies, we should have uniformity in what they give to candidates, so as not to cast aspersion on their integrity as a commission. Furthermore, they must not keep Nigerians in oblivion again, even as we approach the gubernatorial and state assembly election, as they must strengthen their communication medium. They must talk to Nigerians as at when due. They must let Nigerians know if they are passing any challenges, and should not allow people to begin to, keep suspense and begin to formulate their own perception. That is not good for the image of the commission. In conclusion, we are also calling on the good people of Nigeria not to give up to the misinformation being circulated portraying BVAS as dysfunctional. Their votes did not count, or that outcomes are already pre-programmed. This is not true. Nigerians should reject it. These are erroneous misinformation championed by desperate politicians and enemy of our hand democracy. We must quench it by force, by trooping out en masse to cast our votes, especially the young people, in the forthcoming election, so as to prove it that they can do it again and again. They must go out to vote in March 18, which is now the new slated date for gubernatorial and state House of Assembly election. They must come out en masse. They must stand to protect their votes, and they must ensure that INEC adheres strictly to its own guidelines. This must be done in total compliance with the rule of law and the extant law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Once again, we want to thank the Nigerian people for a show of patriotism, for coming out to actually exercise their votes and their franchise. And they must know that if there is a time to back out in these Nigerian projects, it shouldn't be now. On this note, we want to reinforce that our stance, our struggle as an organization is hinged on process and participation and not on the outcome of the election. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are saying, Nigeria, go out and vote come 18th March. Your vote is your power. Don't sell your votes. Don't fight, but vote. Go, your Niger, go better. Thank you.
Irregularities. It had a lot of issues, and Nigerians are scared. Nigerians are confused on what to do if their votes actually counted. But we are here to say that the votes counted. Our votes counted. Our voices were heard. Okay, the fact that we came out to vote, it's actually an act of patriotism, and we are grateful for that. And we are saying that come March 18th, we should all come out and vote. We should not be scared, because BVAS actually worked. Although it had some malfunctions and some issues, but it actually worked. And so come March 18th, we should all come out in mass. We should all come out and vote in our respective states for our choices. Because if we stay in, we cannot actually come out and complain that our choices or our voices were not heard. The only way our voices can be heard is only when we come out and actually choose what we want, actually choose who we want to lead us. So this is calling on all the youth, all the young people to not relent. Rome was not built in a day. Nigeria would not get to that point we're expecting it to be in a day. It takes process. It takes time. And so we cannot just do it in one day and decide to relax. We have to decide to be consistent about it. And so come March 18th, let's all come out and vote so our choices will be heard, our voices will be heard. Thank you.
Nigerians, this is also to lend my voice to what my colleagues have rightly said. Nigeria is everybody's project, and we all are looking out for the best for our dear country, Nigeria. So far, the reports and analysis still ongoing has proved that the 25th February March election, the presidential and the National Assembly's election, was quite can I come again? Okay. We noticed a lot of difficulties in accessing. One of the challenges, especially at my polling units, was that electoral materials didn't get to our polling units in time. We had issues with getting security agencies on ground. Even when the election started, it started almost at noon with limited time, though, and at some points the materials were not really sufficient. These are some of the issues we encountered at our polling units, and we hope that INEC at the forthcoming election will do something about that. Things as little as ink pad were issues at some polling units. There were issues of ballot snatching and violence in various locations, and so far, I don't think there has been any arrest made on anybody so far that has engaged in any form of election violence in the past, in the just concluded presidential election. So we are calling on INEC, security agencies, everyone involved, every stakeholders that is involved in this forthcoming election to put their hands on deck and give us the best of elections that we expect on the 18th of March. We expect that INEC would give us a better election. So far, even the BVAS, as some would claim that it didn't work, my colleague has said it worked, and we hope that it will give us the best by transmitting our results from the polling units and everyone having access to the portal and ensuring that it's actually what was counted and voted for that is transmitted in the central server. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.